Have you ever heard from someone that you won't make it? Have you felt that pitying look, or worse, the mockery, when hard times fell upon you? Perhaps it was a relative at Sunday lunch, perhaps a co-worker, perhaps someone who slept beside you. I need you to pay close attention now to what I am going to say, because this video will change how you look at your life until now. Every humiliation, every closed door, every no you heard, all of these have a purpose that you have not yet fully understood. And when you understand, and that will be today, you will never again let anyone make you feel like less. The truth is this: there is a pattern that repeats in the life of almost every person who achieves true abundance. And this pattern begins exactly with scarcity. This is not a coincidence. This is not bad luck. This is spiritual engineering. And even science has begun to confirm this. In this video, I will show you why your hardest era was not a punishment, but a preparation. Why those people who laughed at you will be the same ones who will witness your turnaround. And more importantly, I will hand over to you what you must do from now on to release that abundance which has already been reserved for you. Stay with me until the end, because the last part of the video is the most powerful. And if you are going through a difficult period now, know that this content reached you at the exact moment. Let us begin with something that perhaps no one has ever explained to you like this. When you live through a period of scarcity, be it financial, emotional, romantic, or professional, your brain switches to survival mode. Neuroscience calls this a chronic stress response. The prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for planning, vision, and decision-making, becomes less active, and the limbic system, which is responsible for emotions and instincts, takes control. Simply put, you cease to think clearly and begin to react out of fear. This is where most people get stuck. Because when you are in this state, everything around you seems to confirm that you are not capable. You look at your bank balance and feel shame. You watch social media and see everyone else prospering. You go to a family gathering and someone makes a seemingly innocent comment, which, however, wounds from within. Well, are you still at that company? Do you still live in that place? When will your lot finally turn for the better, eh? I know you know this feeling. Because in Brazil, we live in a culture where scarcity is not only material, but also social. Research by Datafolha showed that more than 60% of Brazilians over 35 years old have already felt judged by a close relative because of their financial situation. 60%. That is, if you have gone through this, you are not alone. Far from it. And do you know what is most wicked? Scarcity in Brazil has layers. It is not only money that is missing, recognition is missing, respect is missing. That look of equality when you enter somewhere is missing. Have you ever entered a shop and been treated differently because of your clothes? Have you ever been at an event where you felt you did not belong? Have you ever heard someone change their tone of voice when speaking to you after finding out where you live or what you do? This hurts in a way that goes beyond the wallet. It wounds the soul, the identity. And what is worst, it wounds in silence. Because most people do not speak of this. They swallow it, they disguise it, smiling on the outside, bleeding on the inside, and they accumulate a pain that over time becomes a conviction. I am not good enough. This is not for me. People like me do not get that far. If any of these sentences have crossed your mind, I need you to listen very carefully now to what I say. But here comes the point that changes everything. This period of scarcity that you lived through, or that you are perhaps living through now, is not the end of your story. It is the middle. And more than that, it is the most important part. Let me explain why. There exists a concept in psychology called post-traumatic growth. This was studied in depth by researchers Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun at the University of North Carolina. They discovered that those people who go through severe difficulties, financial loss, public humiliation, painful breakups, when they consciously process this pain, they develop abilities that those who have never suffered simply do not possess. What abilities are these? Deeper empathy, clarity about what actually matters, an inner strength that does not break easily, and perhaps the most powerful of all, a resilience that transforms obstacles into fuel. Now think with me. That person who laughed at you when hard times fell, they never had to develop these abilities. They were never tempered in the fire. Therefore, when life presents them with the bill, and it will because life presents it to everyone, they will not have the stature to endure it, while you who were formed by difficulty remain standing. This is not empty positive thinking. This is behavioral science applied to real life, and spirituality goes even deeper into this question. In the world's most ancient spiritual traditions, from Buddhism to Christianity, from the Jewish Kabbalah to the traditions of African roots so present in Brazil, there exists a universal principle. Before abundance comes the desert. Before the harvest comes the sowing in dry earth. Before the light comes the crossing through darkness. In Christianity, Joseph was sold by his own brothers, unjustly imprisoned, forgotten in the depths of a dungeon. And exactly this path led him to the highest office in Egypt, ruling over those who abandoned him. In the Yoruba tradition, Oxala, the Orixar of creation, went through trials and humiliations before taking back his throne. In Buddhism, Siddhartha had to renounce everything, wealth, comfort, status, to achieve enlightenment. Notice the pattern. Abundance does not come despite scarcity. Abundance comes because of scarcity. Scarcity is the process, not the problem. And when you understand this, something irreversibly changes within you. But I know what you might be thinking now. All right, I understand, but how does this help me in practice? How do I step out of scarcity and enter into abundance? Calm down. This is exactly what we will deal with now. And what I will show you in the next minutes is the real step-by-step guide, not theory, not an empty promise. This is what works. If this content has made sense to you so far, help me, like this video. This helps the algorithm deliver this content to more people who need to hear this. And subscribe to the channel, because every week I bring such content that goes deep into real transformation. The first step to turning the coin is the hardest, and exactly for this reason, most do not take it. You must stop identifying with scarcity. I repeat, because this is fundamental. You must stop identifying with scarcity. When you say, I am poor, I never have luck, things do not work for me, you are not describing reality. You are programming your reality, and this is not coaching talk. Neurolinguistics has already proven that the words you use to describe yourself activate specific neural circuits in your brain. When you repeat a belief about yourself, it strengthens. It becomes a dominant neural pathway, and your brain begins to filter reality to confirm what you believe. This is called confirmation bias. If you believe you are unlucky, your brain literally ignores the opportunities that appear and focuses on the things that go wrong. This is not a lack of opportunities. This is a mental filter. Now listen to what I will ask of you. Think of your life today. Think of those sentences you repeat about yourself, whether aloud or in the silence of your mind. This doesn't work for me. This is for rich people. I don't deserve it. Each of these sentences is a chain, and the first thing you must do is break them, not tomorrow. Today, I want you to do the following. Write in the comments a sentence that replaces the scarcity you carry. If you always said, I never have money, write, abundance is arriving in my life. If you always said, no one appreciates me, write, I am worthy of recognition and abundance. Write it now. This simple act of putting into words what you desire is the first concrete gesture of reprogramming. The second step is understanding the principle of strategic detachment. Many confuse detachment with indifference. It has nothing to do with it. Strategic detachment is when you perform your part with excellence, plant your seed with dedication, but let go of control over the result. You work hard, you train yourself, you move, but you stop suffocating the process with anxiety. Imagine a farmer in the regions of Minas Gerais or Mato Grosso. He prepares the land, plants the seed, waters it, cares for it, but he does not pull the sprout out of the ground to see if it is growing. He trusts in time. He trusts in the process. And when the harvest comes, it will be bountiful, because the seed was well planted. Your life works the same way. Perhaps you have already sown. Perhaps you have already done your part. And the anxiety over the lack of immediate results makes you despair. But I tell you, the seed is germinating. What is happening under the ground you cannot see, but it is happening. In quantum physics, there exists a principle called the collapse of the wave function. Simply put, the anxious and constant observation of a result can interfere with the result itself. Scientists like the physicist John Wheeler proved that the act of observation changes the behavior of particles. Now translate this to your life. When you become obsessed with the result, measuring every cent, comparing your speed to others, you are literally interfering with your own expansion process. Let go, do your part, and trust. The third step is the most powerful and the least practiced, the transformation of pain into purpose. Remember that person who laughed at you, that situation that humiliated you, that moment when you vowed never to go through this again. Well, that pain did not come to destroy you. That pain came to give direction. I know the story of a woman from Recife who lost everything at 42. Her husband left home, took the car, left debt behind. The neighbors gossiped. The family said she should have kept the marriage. She told me that the hardest moment was not losing the money, but when she heard the stifled laughter of a sister-in-law in the family group when she asked for help to pay the electricity bill. This woman today has a chain of bakeries with 6 employees. She did not become rich overnight. It took 3 years. But into every cake she made, she put that pain which she transformed into fuel. And the sister-in-law who laughed. Today, she is her customer. This is not revenge. This is alignment. This is life showing that the coin has 2 sides. And whoever saw the face of your scarcity will see, whether they want to or not, the face of your abundance. But notice, this woman's abundance did not spring from hatred. It sprang from decision, from the choice to take the pain and do something with it. And this is the key that separates the one who gets stuck in resentment from the one who moves forward. Anger gives energy for a while, but it burns out quickly and leaves you empty. Purpose gives sustainable energy. It is like the difference between a match and an ember. The match flares up strongly and goes out. The ember holds heat for hours. So I ask you, what will you do with your pain? Will you let it define you, or will you use it as a foundation for what you are building? Now I must speak of something that almost no one deals with in this type of content, and which is perhaps the most important piece of the whole puzzle. There exists a phenomenon that social psychology calls crab mentality. It comes from the observation that if you put several crabs in a bucket, none can escape. Do you know why? Because every time one tries to climb up, the others pull it back down. No crab needs a lid. They imprison themselves. In Brazil, this mentality is cultural. We grew up hearing, don't dream too much, stay in your place, who do you think you are? These sentences are not innocent. They are anchors that keep you at the bottom of the bucket. And usually they come from people who are in there with you, who do not want you to get out. Because your exit exposes their stagnation. I know this is hard to hear, especially if these people are those we love. Father, mother, brother, childhood friend. But understand one thing. Their love is real. Their fear is too. And their fear disguises itself as advice. Don't leave that job. Why would you invest in this? You are already doing well. This, "you are already doing well," is the most dangerous sentence anyone can say to you, because it packages mediocrity as if it were safety. And you, deep down, know that you are not doing well. You know that more exists. You feel this. That is why you are watching this video now. I will tell you a case that illustrates this perfectly. A friend of mine in São Paulo worked as an app-based driver. He earned just enough to pay the bills, sometimes not even that. One day he decided to learn programming at night, on the internet, for free. His brother-in-law found out and said in front of everyone at the Sunday barbecue, "You, a programmer? Get your feet on the ground, son." Everyone laughed. He swallowed it in silence. But he did not stop. 2 years later, he was hired by a technology company with a salary that was 4 times what he earned as a driver. For months, he told no one in the family. Do you know when they found out? When he arrived to take his mother to a medical exam, and he was in a brand new car. The brother-in-law who laughed, he sent him a message to recommend him for a job somewhere. I do not tell this story to feed a desire for revenge. I tell it because it is real, and because it represents thousands of stories that happen silently all over Brazil. People who were underestimated and who silently built something extraordinary. Their abundance did not come with noise, it came with consistency. And exactly this is what separates you from the majority, the ability to keep building in silence while others are busy doubting. So here is the truth that sets you free. You do not need anyone's approval to prosper. You do not need that person who doubted you to change their mind. You only need to give yourself permission. Permission to grow. Permission to want more. Permission to believe that abundance belongs to you too. And when you give yourself this permission, something extraordinary happens. Doors begin to open. Not because reality changed, but because you changed. And when you change, everything changes. I would like to suggest an exercise to you now. It is not a complicated meditation, not an elaborate ritual. Something simple, yet it has incredible power. Every night before you fall asleep, I want you to close your eyes and visualize in as much detail as possible the scene of your abundance. Do not think of abundance as something vague. See the scene. Where are you? What are you wearing? Who is with you? What does that place smell like? What sounds do you hear? Visualize that scene in which that person who doubted you sees you prospering. But, and this is important, do not visualize this with anger. Visualize it with peace. Visualize it smiling. Visualize it with gratitude. Because in this scene, you are not proving anything to anyone. You are simply living what was always rightfully yours. The neuroscience behind it is solid. Researchers at Harvard University proved that when you repeatedly visualize an action, the brain activates the same areas that would be activated if you were actually living that experience. That is, your brain begins to rewire itself as if abundance were already your reality. And when the brain believes, the body acts differently. You make different decisions, you position yourself differently, you attract different things. And spirituality says the same. In other words, what you maintain in your mind with faith manifests in matter. Every sacred tradition speaks of this. Prayer is not a request, but a frequency. Visualization is not a fantasy, but a creation. Now I speak to you of the fifth and last step. And this is the most controversial of all. If you truly understand this, you will be freed from a weight that you have perhaps been carrying for decades. The last step, forgive those who laughed at you. I know that this is the hardest part. I know that there are people who hurt you in a way that seems unforgivable. But listen to what I say. Forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness is for you. As long as you carry resentment, you are energetically chained to that person. It is as if an invisible rope ties you together. Every time you remember what they did, every time you feel anger, this rope tightens. And all the energy that should go toward your building, your abundance, your expansion, leaks away to maintain this tense rope. Forgiveness is the scissors that cut this rope. To forgive does not mean saying that what they did to you was right. It does not mean you must live again with the one who hurt you. It does not mean you must act as if it did not hurt. It means you choose freedom. It means you decide that person will no longer have power over your present and your future. In the Spiritist tradition, so present in Brazilian culture, forgiveness is seen as one of the greatest tools for the evolution of the soul. Resentment is a karmic chain. When you forgive, you release yourself from cycles that sometimes repeat through generations. You are not only healing yourself, you are healing your bloodline. And here comes a piece of information that few people know. Research from the HeartMath Institute in California showed that the act of forgiveness literally changes heart rate variability, improves immune response, and reduces levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. That is, forgiveness improves your physical health in a measurable way. Resentment makes you sick. Forgiveness heals. This is not a metaphor. This is physiology. I give you a practical task for this. Think of that person who hurt you most in your scarcity phase. It could be someone who mocked, who abandoned, who turned their back. Now mentally look at this person and say, I release you, and I release myself from you. You do not need to say it aloud. You can say it in the silence of your heart, but say it with intention. Say it, knowing that every time you repeat this sentence, a layer of resentment dissolves. It does not all disappear at once. And that is fine. Forgiveness is a process. Sometimes you must repeat this exercise 10, 20, 50 times, but every time it will be easier. And this lightness is the space that abundance needs to enter. There is a sentence I heard from an old woman in a community here in Brazil, from a Mãe de Santo over 80 years old, and which never left my head. She said, "Son, resentment is like holding a hot coal in your hand, thinking you will burn the other. You are the one who gets burned." And she was right. That person who hurt you probably does not even remember what they did anymore. Meanwhile, you do not sleep. You lose your peace. You lose your energy. Enough. Today, you let go. So let us put everything together now, because I want you to leave this video with complete clarity about what happened, what is happening, and what will happen in your life. What happened? You went through scarcity. You were judged, belittled, perhaps humiliated. It hurt. And the pain was real. What is happening? You are awakening. You understand that that period was not the end, but the preparation. Every difficulty developed abilities in you that most people do not possess. You were tempered. What will happen? The coin turns. And whoever saw the face of scarcity will witness the face of abundance, not because you rub it in anyone's nose, but because that is how it works. Life is cyclical. Seed, earth, time, harvest. You have already sown. You have already waited. The harvest is arriving, but it only arrives in its entirety if you do your part. If you stop identifying with scarcity, if you let go of anxious control over results, if you transform pain into purpose, if you release yourself from the crab mentality, and if you forgive. 5 steps, 5 decisions, 5 keys that open the gate of your abundance. And I want to reinforce something that perhaps you need to hear once more. None of these steps requires money. None requires a degree. None requires permission from anyone. They only require decision. And decision is the only thing no one can take from you. They can take your job, your money, your status, but that ability to decide who you will be from now on, that cannot be violated. That is yours. And with it, you rebuild everything. Think about how many people are watching this video across Brazil at this moment, each with their own pain, each with their own story of scarcity, each with someone who doubted them, and each of them, as you are, is only one decision away from turning the coin. This is a massive power. You are part of something much larger than you could imagine. I know this video was long, and if you have reached this point, I must tell you something. The very fact that you stayed until the end shows who you are. It shows that you are committed to your own transformation, that you do not give up halfway, that you go the whole way. And exactly this type of person is what abundance seeks. The abundance does not seek the perfect. It seeks the persistent, those who continue even when it hurts, those who watch a 20-minute video until the last second because they know that the sentence which changes everything might be there. Perhaps that sentence is this: you are not late, you are at the right time. And your story does not end in scarcity. Scarcity is only the first chapter. The rest you are writing now, with every single choice. If this content touched your heart, share it with someone who is going through a difficult time. Sometimes a person is only one video away from changing their life. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, because every week we publish such content. And write in the comments, which was the sentence in this video that caught you the most. I read every comment, and your answer might be exactly what another person needs to hear. The coin turns, and when it falls, and it will fall on the good side, on your side. See you in the next video.